Oh, I'm huge. Okay, should be good. Um, Music, go. Beautiful. We got Mike. Mike's working. All right, get set up here. So, hello. Um, I've done play testing the game. Let me look real quick. Honestly, this is gonna be a weird stream, but I figured I just felt like streaming, so might as well do it. So, yeah, I did all the pacing and balancing. I had so many notes. I ended up throwing some on the way, but pacing, balancing, kind of figuring out like the economy of the game. You won't be able to see that, but just fixing like little bug fixes and stuff. I think I got the game to a point that I like it. I had a problem with saving the game. I figured out what it was. I can't really show it because I don't have the project open right now. But basically, at the top of my save script, there's a little bit that checks to see if the file exists, and if it does, it deletes it. But because I was using like multiple saves, that was just deleting the files that had the old saves on it. So that's why I noticed that I'd start a new game, but it wouldn't remember the settings, and that was what it was. I just had to remove it a little bit at the top. Also, when I was doing like progress through the game, somehow I got extra progress and it ended up causing a crash. So I ended up putting in my save script. Basically, I just do all the math for what the progress of the game is when you save the game. That way I can check for all the different variables. But that worked pretty well. I was gonna make it like I was gonna export the game and put it on Steam so that I could at least like go through that process. But it turns out it's not as simple as I thought. I thought I'd just make it like an executable or something, but Steam's like very specific in the way that you have to upload stuff to it. And it just looked like it was a really long read to learn how to do that, so I decided I'll put that off for now. I might do that later when I just don't feel like doing normal stuff. I'd like to put the game on Steam, or at least a build of it, even though like now I've got a complete game, but I just don't have the sound effects for it. So I thought it would be nice to just upload it like that, and then I can learn how to update the game to add the sound effects in later. And yeah, I think that'd be just like a good way to learn stuff before I've actually released the game. We're streaming in music now, even though we're going to be doing sound effects. There's no like sound effects category, so I just do it in music. I figure it's audio. It's all the same. They're all the same. But really what we're going to be doing is just learning how to use FL Studio. Speaking of which, I need to open it up. I also need to get my MIDI keyboard out wherever I put it. Ooh. That's right, there's going to be like new sounds. Oh yeah, I got to download the latest version too. I should probably do that. Let's go ahead and just do that now. Luckily, when I update now, there's nothing that I know about that's going to break, so who cares? So yeah, I got to update FL Studio. And I think it's downloading right now. So you'll be looking at my face for a little bit. But what I was thinking of doing is we'll go on YouTube and just like look up a basic tutorial. I usually don't like the idea of streaming other people's like, you know, YouTube content, but I don't think I'm gonna upload this. I might, I don't know. I know like there's so many like streamers that just do reaction videos and stuff. It used to be like a really I don't know how to say this. It used to be like a faux pas or whatever, where you like put somebody else's content on your own stream. But that seems like nobody's doing that anymore, so I probably don't. It doesn't matter. I can just look up some YouTube videos and we can watch them. I create a little overlay for it. So I figured it'd be a good idea to like show when people are like, how do you, I don't know, get started? You know, this is me getting started with something, so should be fine. Oh, I think I forgot to shuffle this list. I'll do that real quick. Also, I don't know what I'm going to do for audio for this because, yeah, if I'm working on audio, I can't really have like game music in the background. I'll have to like, I don't know, the streams might be a lot quieter when I'm doing audio stuff. I guess where I'm going to start, yeah, I'm going to go to YouTube. I'm going to type in like Beginner's Guide to FL Studio. And then I'm going to look for something that looks good and recent. And I'll probably just try a couple tutorials. This is usually what I would do. Is yeah, just look for something that looks like it was made recently. Like I'm looking at the videos here. There's some here that's like 4 years ago. Probably don't want to click on those. Probably want something more recent. I don't really like the super short ones. I'd like them to go into a little more detail, but this one has just got like, apparently there's a difference between FL Studio 20 and 21. Honestly, I don't know which version I'm going to be using. Oh, but it just downloaded, so I'm going to go ahead and install that real quick. So it's FL Studio 21 that I'm going to be using specifically, because that's the latest version. Oh, I'm afraid to do this though. I hope it doesn't like break any of my settings. Because I've got like some sort of, I got a custom thing that I bought for FL Studio a long time ago. It's called Omnisphere. I bought it for somebody who was going to be, I thought would do music for me, but they ended up not doing it. So I kept it for myself, just in case. But I remember it being a pain in the butt, just like installing it. And I'm really afraid that if I update, I hope that all those, I don't have to like reinstall that whole thing. We'll see. I mean, my version of FL Studio is probably really old too. So I'm gonna have to do this anyway. Yeah, it looks like it's installing it to a new folder. Oh yeah, fun installation stream. Well, I guess it'll be fine, whatever. We'll watch YouTube videos, even if like I can't get FL Studio working or with all my stuff, and I'll have to figure that all out. At least we can like play around with it and check the settings. Just get like familiar with the program, right? I feel like that's something I didn't really do with Clip Studio. When I jumped into it, I didn't just like go through all the different settings and play with all the different windows, which I really kind of wish I'd have just done right from the beginning. Because there was a ton of stuff that I'd been using Clip Studio for a while before I actually noticed, like all the stuff I was missing out on. So this time I kind of want to like actually go through all the different menus and get a good idea for like all the stuff that's available, even though I probably won't understand it all. Oh, I got new follows. Cool. All right, this is almost installed. So what am I gonna do for I used to have like a YouTube page, but I don't have it anymore. I'm gonna have to create like, I could just capture my window for watching YouTube videos. I do want to go ahead. I forgot to actually turn on all this stuff here. I'll go ahead and do that real quick. This old one. Yeah, I should make a new scene for just like specifically for YouTube videos if I'm gonna do this. Then again, how often do I stream YouTube stuff? I'm not like a reaction streamer. All right. I'm just gonna install this thing called ASIO. What is this? It's something for sound cards. I might have this problem where I just updated FL Studio to the most recent version. I hope that they still support Windows 7, or I just screwed up. We'll see. If you own FL Studio, enter your image line account, email, and password. All right, you can't see. That's important. Okay, I think it's installed. Now I gotta find it. So it looks like it didn't actually overwrite my previous version of FL Studio. It just created a new version. So, I mean, that's, in a way, I would usually be annoyed by that, but now at least I don't have to like reinstall the old version if this one doesn't work. Try this one. Okay, so let me make sure you can't see the screen. Good. I've got to unlock, or I've got to figure out where my registration password was. Hope I saved it. I don't. Oh, I don't know. Actually, I feel like, did I ever even buy FL Studio? I think I was just using a free version. I definitely bought that like that plugin stuff. Oh crap. Okay, I'm gonna try this. I'm going to think it's loading a song. I was trying to close out of it, but it's loading like a test song. Which, kind of crappy that it doesn't let me close out. Oh, what happened? It's opening browser pages and stuff. Ah, come on. Alright, I'm gonna try and open my previous version and see if it's actually registered. Because this one, it's not asking me for a registration, so that means I definitely registered, right? My account, here we go. Oh, there's nothing saved to my computer, so I don't think I've actually unlocked it. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I've actually... Yeah, I don't think I have an account. That's not a good thing to be, like, unsure about, but I'm pretty sure I would have saved that password on my computer if I had it. I think that I never did that. Okay. So I might have to actually buy a version of FL Studio later. Well, seeing as that seems to be the case, let's open up the new version, because it doesn't really matter. And then I can give you something to look at. Yeah, but see, this like old license thing doesn't actually show up. I don't remember. But I feel like I might have had an account because my previous version doesn't actually ask for me to unlock it. Oh, that noise is FL Studio, by the way. I'm just going to go with the trial account for now. I feel like I definitely own it though. It might even be a thing to where I have like a physical copy of it when I bought the that Omnisphere thing. I think that's what happened. I got like a physical copy of FL Studio. This is the thing. Omnisphere 2. Okay. I don't even know where to start with all this. Probably something I shouldn't do on stream. Yeah, okay. Screw it. I'm not going to mess with that on stream. Either way, I don't know if I actually have an account, so I'm going to have to like enter all of the emails I have. I have like 3 different emails. One's business, one's like personal, and one's just for spam. I wonder, actually I've always wondered that, like how many emails do normal people actually use? Because I feel like I can't be the only one that has like multiple emails for different things. I wonder if y'all do that too. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna have to enter all my emails and see if one of them sends like I actually have an account on any of them. It'll be one of my three. And then if it is, I'll just like request the password and figure out what it was. That way I can unlock this new version. It might just be that this new version has a different registration as well. I'm just going to use the old version. Because I know I have it set up. And we'll just like start with that. It looks basically the same. So I'm using FL Studio 20 for now. And maybe I'll upgrade to 21 later. But then again, like I said, I'm on an old operating system, so it's probably better to use older stuff. For me. Ooh, maybe I saved something here. Nah, probably not. Okay, so let me create a window for this. I guess I want to use kind of like my programming window, but I want to duplicate this window. And we're going to call this one FL Studio. Okay. Move this up here. Click on it. Alright, so it should be the exact same thing. I'm just going to change the window capture to be FL Studio instead. And we hope that that actually works. Sometimes this can be finicky. Not showing up. Wonder why. It might be because FL Studio has like multiple windows too. Also, I can't change the size of the window, which is really weird. What about now? Still can't see it. I don't know. Maybe we try and capture like something else. Capture a notepad. Be very white. That's not showing up either. Oh, because it was minimized. Window capture is so finicky. I need to use a window capture because otherwise it'll cause Goba to not run correctly. I could always just do a scene capture, but then I can't put Goba on the screen. It's not capturing at all, no matter what I set. It's really weird. Alright, I guess we'll do a screen capture instead. Okay. So yeah, see Goba like slows down a lot. I gotta remove it from here. That means I need chat on screen. And we'll grab it. Alright, so I should have chat now. It's doing a display capture, but it's way too big. Oh, it's still huge. I don't know how much of this screen I'll actually want to show in the end. And you can see this too. Yeah, a big problem with doing it this way too is I want to click off the screen, I've got to like... Oh yeah, and then it doesn't really work for chat. Ah, golly. I don't like this at all. Let's try something else. Bring Goba back. Ah, there it is. Why didn't it work before? I just don't get it. It's like you have to create a new capture window if you want anything to actually show up. Well, there you go. Now it's doing what I wanted it to do. Why is the size... The aspect ratio is not the same. That's annoying. I guess there's a lot of blank space on the right, which is weird as well. We'll just do this for now. That's basically what I see. So now, if I like click off, yeah, you can only see the window. Goba works. We can get rid of chat. I'd rather use Goba. Okay, good. Now I don't have to worry about showing like passwords or anything weird. Also, I should have done this before I did all that. I need to be able to see chat because I've only got the one monitor. Wow, this FL Studio actually doesn't have a feature to automatically resize the window, which it's like every Windows program I've ever used has some sort of way to snap the window. Anyway, just set this up myself. But now it's going off like the bottom of the screen. There we go. Okay, that's the new window. So we can resize it again. I don't know a better way to do this. I could just like center it and leave black bars. Like I have to shrink it down so I can see chat on the right side of my screen. I can also see my OBS. That's how I usually do it. I've got like a really big monitor. So this is usually how I do it. I think next time I get a computer though, I'm gonna have like an actual second monitor. I've wanted a second monitor for so long. I like the big TV monitor. It'd be hard to go back to like a small size monitor, but I really do need like a smaller thing just like off to the side that I can display other things on. I'm gonna be streaming. Alright, I think that's good. We'll keep it like this. Okay, now I've done all that to set up this. We're not even going to use it yet. We're going to use this YouTube one. So now I got to figure it out. Alright, first let's cut the music off. Let's open one of these videos. Let's do... I guess we're going to use one of these FL Studio 20 ones. Or 20... Yeah. I said 21, but I mean 20... You get it. One of the 20 ones. One of the 20s. This looks pretty good. I'm going to use this one.
Hello and
Alright, now what do I do so that you can see the screen without... I guess I just do the scenes capture then. There we go. Let's watch a YouTube video. Should be okay. But I need to pump up the volume if you're going to be able to hear it. So let me raise that up a bit. I don't remember, where's it actually supposed to be at? So I want it somewhere like in the middle here. That's usually where I have my audio at. I have my mic almost peaking. I keep it like around the yellow because I tend to like mumble a lot. So I like to have it a little louder and keep my music right about there. So that's where I'm gonna try and get it.
welcome to this complete guide to FL Studio 20, in which I'll cover everything you'll need to know as a complete
you should be able to hear
beginner
all
to
that.
this incredible piece of software.
All right,
I remember when
let's
I
learn.
first opened FL Studio back in the day and how overwhelming and complicated everything looked. But hopefully after this video, it'll become a lot clearer and you'll have the knowledge and understanding to start
Look at that
making your
screen.
own original tracks. So let's start with a completely blank FL Studio file. Now, I think a good way to break down what we're looking at here is to break it down into 5 main sections. So we have the browser down the left-hand side here, the channel rack up here, the playlist window.
Okay, wait. Channel rack? Channel rack. That's the thing that popped up in the middle of my screen. Here we go. He put it over here, and I have no idea how to get it there, because it doesn't seem to show any sort of display like it's going to lock in. So, okay. Channel rack. It's a free-floating window for me. What else does he have? He's got like whatever this thing is, and then that one we've got. So I guess I got to move this one over if I want to squeeze that in. Let's look at that. How does this work? Ah, there we go. Now where'd the other thing go? I just clicked off of it and it's gone now? What? Oh, there it is. All right, you. You go here. Do you snap in any way? No? Nothing like that makes any sense? All right. Oh, there we go. It's kind of snapping. He's got it like, basically it goes to this, these little bars. So, yeah, I'm a little too far this way. We'll go that way. This goes that way. So it does kind of snap in. Well, sort of. It's doing this now. It won't let me go to where I actually want to go. I guess we'll go to this one and shrink this down a little more. There we go. And then fan this down some more. We can't. It's stuck here. All right. At least we've got it sort of where it goes.
Which is this large section here, the mixer down here, and the piano.
Right. Reset.
So we have the browser down
Browser.
the left-hand side here, the channel rack up here, the playlist window, which is this large section here, the mixer down here.
Oh, I see what happened there. His channel rack actually is behind the playlist window. So kind of like what I did there. Only this goes above it, and then if you ever click on it, it pops out. Okay. Honestly, this browser window is so big. I guess that's not too bad, actually. Okay.
And the playlist window, which is this large section here, the mixer down here, and the piano roll, which...
So his mixer's like the full thing, and he just hides it behind the playlist. I don't have a mixer. Where's the mixer at? So if I go to View, I guess, instead of Windows, is there a mixer in here? Okay, it's not View. Options? Why isn't there a Windows? Come on, FL Studio. Why you got to be different from all the other programs? Add? Okay, it's probably in here. No, these are like drums and... We want mixer window. Alright, let me just go through these different settings. So we got new basic 808 with limiter. I don't know what that is. New from template. Okay. Open, save, yeah. Import, export. We can export as WAV, MP3. I don't know what I want to export as. I have to look that up too, but that will be later. I think a WAV is the best thing to export as if you're going to do like put it in a game. Revert, exit. Okay, edit. We've got, well, edit's pretty simple. Just cut, copy, and paste and undo. Add more plugins, speech. So these are channels. Controllers. We've got Fruity Envelope controller and keyboard controller. We've got different drums. MIDI. Oh yeah, I still have to get my keyboard out. I think I put it away so it didn't get dusty. So I had to dig it out sometime. I do have a MIDI keyboard. I'll show it later, but it's a pretty cheap one you can get on Amazon. I say cheap, it's like 100 or 200 bucks. But it's nothing like super amazing, you know, just a small one. Audio clip, automation clip, boo bass, FL keys, FL Studio mobile, voltage layer. Actually, you know, one of the reasons I might not see the things that he sees is I don't have like a, I don't know if I have like a registered version. So that might be one of the reasons. Sound font player, patcher. I have no idea what any of this is. Sampler, direct wave, granulizer, sampler, wave traveler. I'm guessing these are like different instruments. Fruity dance, player, categories, simple tree. Then we've got effects. Ooh. That's a lot of different things. That's a lot of stuff. Tuner, wave candy. I don't know what any of this is. Plugin picker, plugin database, browse all installed plugins, browse presets, refresh plugin list, manage plugins, pattern. All right, patterns. Pattern 1. Find first, find next. Select in playlist, rename and color is F2. F2's rename, that's good. Random color, open in project browser. Time signature, transpose. Insert 1, clone, delete, move up and down. Control shift, up and down. Split by channel. Quick render. Render is audio clip, render and replace. View. Okay, these are windows. View windows. Playlist, piano roll. Where's the piano roll at? It says that we're viewing that. It might be one of these on the top. I could just turn it off so I can see what it is. Okay, this thing went away. Oh, is this the piano roll? This thing? You know, I have no idea. Okay. I mean, this whole bar went away. Is this bar the piano roll? If I hit F7. Wait, piano roll's changing the entire window. Right, because now it's got like notes and stuff on the side. Oh, I'm seeing something blink. This thing. This is the piano roll. Okay, so it's like switching from like a workspace to a room or something. Okay, and that's F7. All right, so buttons here seem to be like channel rack. This is the mixer. Ah, that's the thing. Okay, cool. So this is where Windows is. So I'm gonna put it here and make it as big as the screen. Right about like that. Everything, my buttons are tiny, holy cow. And now if I just click here, this is just hidden on the side. I kind of like this. This is a neat way to overlay Windows. Mixer, browser, yeah, we know what that is. The project picker, plugin picker, tempo tapper. What is Control F5? Whoa, what are you? Uh-huh. I click it. I don't know what that is. That was fun. Okay. Touch controller, script output, toolbars. Edit, separator, flat button. Okay. Test. So close all windows is F12. Close all plugin windows. Arrange. You can set a background. Interesting. We've got history, patterns, generators, effects, remote control plugin, database, options, mid-eye settings, audio settings. I probably want to go through all these settings later and just see what all the settings are. I could do it now. I am afraid that I might show like something personal, which for me it would be this Omnisphere thing. I don't want to show like some sort of registration key or something I might have for it. All I can think. So I'll do that later. Actually, you might not even be able to see what I see. If I click this, I can't. Yeah, okay, you can see it. Project general settings, project info. I'd love to go through each one of these and just look at them. I don't know what any of this is. Typing keyboard to piano, metronome, pre-count, input, blend, loop record, cloud accounts, browser smart find, one-click audio recording, macros, stop sound, cancel recording, okay, riff machine, control creator, dump score log to selected pattern. It goes back minutes. I don't know what that is. Last tweet. Next to last tweet. And then we got some help stuff. Yeah, when I tried going to my account before, it just went to a login page, so I guess that means I'm not logged into anything. But yeah, when I open this up, it doesn't give me like, it doesn't ask me to register or anything like the other version does. Okay, so let's continue watching this then.
We'll come on to later. These are essentially your 5 building blocks inside FL Studio 20 that you'll use on every single track you make. And in this guide, I'll show you how to use each of these 5 sections one by one from a beginner's perspective. Before we look at these 5 sections, I want to briefly mention some features up here in this top bar that will be really useful if you're a beginner. So if we go up to File here, this is where you'll find your options to open and save projects you're working on, or to export them into WAV or MP3 files. In this Options section, you can play around with various MIDI and audio settings. This is where we can connect up any MIDI keyboard or drum pads or an audio interface as well. But for now, I'd recommend leaving this all how it is. Over here, we have the master volume and pitch controls. You'll also notice when you hover over a control, a brief description pops up in this box, which can be really helpful. This option here allows you to switch between whether you're editing a pattern or editing the track as a whole. That might not make a lot of sense right now, but we will be covering that later in the video. You'll see then you have your basic play, pause, and record buttons. Next to those, you've got your tempo selector, which you can change by simply left click and dragging, or you can just right click and choose type in value to manually input your chosen tempo.
Okay. I like to do things when I'm watching tutorials like this, pause like constantly. I find it makes it, like, okay, he just talked about how I can use the mouse control to control this, which actually looking at this, it's where I put my mouse is where it changes it, which is really cool. So like if I want to change this number, I can put my mouse over it, even though everything on mine is really small. I wonder if there's a zoom feature. Let's check that real quick. Control plus, nope, no zoom. Or at least no zoom that, no key binding zoom. But yeah, I'm just saying, I like to do that kind of thing as the tutorials go along. Otherwise, like, yeah, I feel like that way it'll stick in my brain a lot better if I like play around with and I do it in like bite-sized chunks instead of like watching a whole tutorial all at once. I feel like a lot of the information won't like, get, you won't remember it all. So just, it's one of my approaches to like learning new things is do it in small chunks, test out each of the little features that he mentions. Yeah, break it up into little pieces.
Over here we have several really useful buttons. Now I won't go through all of them in this video except the ones you'll need as a complete beginner. So you've got this metronome button for turning on and off the metronome. This keyboard button here actually activates your computer keyboard so you can use certain keys to actually play sounds. Finally, this button here adds a countdown before you start recording audio or MIDI. Okay, so moving on, this pattern selector here is a really important...
So I want to look at the other buttons though. So these buttons, metronome. Oh, it's got his name on it. Oh, that's what happened. That's right. I used a friend's. I used his. That's what happened. I totally forgot. I used his version of FL Studio, which I kind of regret doing now. Yeah, this name right here is the one I bought this for. But I guess his name got put on it, and I just put it on my computer. That's why I don't know what the password is. I think I wrote it down somewhere, though. Now that I'm remembering that, I bet I could find it. Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, this name right here, that's not my name. That's somebody else's. Okay, anyway. Metronome. Typing keyboard to piano. Wait for input to start playing. That sounds nice. Scrolls to reach time markers. The countdown before recording. I've seen that before. Step editing mode. Blend recording. Overdub. And we've got enable note. Clip groups. I don't know what that is, but it's turned on for me. Oh, it's turned on for him too. I guess that's a default thing. He's only got those 2 buttons on. That's something to take note of. I've got 3. I got this keyboard one on, which I guess that's fine for now. Loop recording and multi-link to controllers. Okay. Let's keep looking. So he went to the pattern thing.
Recording audio or MIDI. Okay, so moving on, this pattern selector here is a really important feature that allows you to choose the pattern you want to select and edit in this channel rack here. So the basic concept of FL Studio is to create and edit individual patterns in this channel rack and then arrange these patterns into full tracks. Again, don't worry if that's not making a lot of sense yet. We will be going over that in a lot more detail. The final thing I want to mention up here is these first 5 buttons here. Now, these actually correspond to the 5 main sections that I mentioned earlier. So each button brings up a specific section. So we have the playlist, the piano roll, the channel rack, the mixer, and the browser as well. Like I said earlier, these are the 5 building blocks of making a full track in FL Studio 20 right up to the final mix. So without further ado, let's take a look at the first building block, the browser section. This section can be found down the left side of the interface and is basically where your sounds, samples, and instruments are stored for you to browse and choose the elements you'd like to add to your projects. For example, if I wanted to browse the drum sounds in this folder, I can click on a sound, and using the arrow keys, I can quickly play through each sound in the folder. Now, if you want to add a folder in your documents so that it shows up in this panel, go up here to Options and to File Settings. And here under Browse Extra Search Folders, click one of the folder icons and choose the folder you want to add. Now we can see this folder is in the browser panel. So now we can choose a sound in the folder and just drag it onto the channel rack. This sample here now exists within this project, and that actually leads us nicely onto the next section of FL Studio 20. So the channel rack is one of the main elements you'll use in FL Studio, and the reason it's called a channel rack is this is basically where all your channels are stored, including individual samples, VST instruments, and automation clips. So by clicking on any one of these channel names within the channel rack, it brings up this wrapper window where you can edit and fine-tune each sample, including pitching, stretching, or reversing the sound. And if you do want to delete a channel from this section, simply right-click and press delete. At the left of each channel, you have a green button, and pressing this will mute the channel. Along here, we have 2 knobs. So the first one is for controlling the pan of the channel, and the second is for controlling the volume. These controls are also available within the wrapper, but are linked and literally control the exact same thing.
The heck is a pan? I'm guessing pan is like whether it's left side or right side speaker, but I have no idea. Channel panning centered. Yeah, it sounds to me like that's what that is. Okay, so are these all the things I've got? I know that this thing, this Omnisphere thing comes with like a stupid amount of crap. It was very expensive. I kind of wish I had that money right now, but at least I've got access to a lot of things. But yeah, I know. Mode audio. I'm gonna have to go through all this. Let's just go for like some basic stuff. Cymbals. Ooh. I immediately think of ting, 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 you know. Blank. Hey, this has got gravity in the beginning. Oh my. Hats? What's a hat? Doesn't sound like a hat. I should really like look up all these instruments too, so like just seeing the name, I can probably write, oh, like I know exactly what cymbals are, but what the hell's a hat? Yeah, I can do this, right? Bam, bam. Music hat. That's what a hat is, of course. All right. I'll look it up later. Sounds like some sort of clanky thing. Okay, so a hat is a click thing. Kick. Kick so that you use your feet for it, right? Yeah. Oh, I like that. It's funky. I kind of want to just play around with making sounds now. Look at all these kicks. This is like way more stuff than I'll ever need. Monster kick. Who dat? Wait, what? Interesting. Percussion. He's a streamer. I like the scraper. Kabasa. Bongo. I know this sound. Oh my god, is this the same thing as oh, I'll never be able to find it now that everything's been randomly sorted. Yeah, I feel like the first little bit of that song that I usually have starting my streams starts with this noise. Sound effects. Laser. That sounds like an old, like, JRPG buzzer or something. So does that. These actually sound very much like JRPG things. Oh god! The hell? Yes, that is definitely JRPG Explosion. That's actually like RPG Maker kind of thing. Ooh, somebody's hurt. Alright, let's grab the frog and put it in place of the kick. Alright, so he said this is to hide stuff, so this is like a visible layer, not visible, or not to hide, but to mute. I'm going to constantly do that. I'm just going to say that now. I am constantly going to say visual stuff instead of auditory stuff, just because that's how my brain thinks. Honestly, when looking at like editing sound and stuff, it really helps me to, I found, to be able to see like a wave pattern, because I'm just like, I'm much better at visualizing music if I can see it. Yeah, visualizing. So yeah, for me, I'm just that type of person that's like, I'm more visual than auditory. I'm not very good at like deciphering noises through my ears, so I'll probably rely heavily on like putting it in a way that I can actually see what I'm doing. So if I click on this, this is what he was showing before. This pan, volume, pitch, track. I don't know what any of this is. Offset. So this is the sound wave though for that noise. Can I test this noise anywhere on here? Oh, there we go. Just click on it. So that's the duh and then duh. See, being able to just see the wave pattern makes it so much easier for me to like, yeah, visualize it basically. That's exactly what it's doing. So I can change the pitch of it. Wait, oh, it's kind of hard to do. It's kind of like frame ratey. Oh, okay. Can I use the mouse wheel here? Oh, that's much better. Okay, cool. What is this one? Oh, it's like multiply? Ah, yeah, that's what that is. Okay. I don't know what time is. That was cool. Well, it's coming back. Is that like slowing it down? Maybe that's what that is. I just slowed it down so much it sounded really crazy. Yeah, okay, so this is like, yeah, this is time. I mean, I don't know how to explain it better than what it is. You can't make it go faster though. Mode, pre-computed effects, DC offset. I know this DC offset thing. This is when I was like editing audio. You'd have to do this for making voices sound better. I know what normalize is, I think. No, I know what equalize is. Turning, oh yeah, okay, so equalize is getting everything to be sort of similar in sound, like all these highs get lower, the lows get higher. Normalize, I think, is bringing things to be within like a certain margin. I don't know, I might be wrong with that. Cross fade in and out. Okay, so this is like fade in and out. It's probably, oh yeah, so this is the out, and I'm lowering what it is on the back end with the out. And in is the other way, only seems to be quite big, so it's kind of hard to tell. Length. Okay. Oh, so that's full length, and this is cutting off from the back. Oh, that's really cool. So I could just like cut off part of the sound right like that. Okay. I don't know what SMP start is. Oh, this is where it starts. Okay, cool. Now I know what that is. Okay, so yeah, okay, where it starts, how long it is, the fade in, fade out, crossfade. This one I'm kind of know, but I don't know. Definitely don't remember. Oh, this is like crossing over. Okay, yeah, I know what that is now. Trim seems to be just cutting off a bit of the end, but still scaling it to fit to the length of it. All right, I'm starting to get it. All right, let's go back to the video. I like that, like stopping like there, let me, you know, and experimenting really helped me like figure some stuff out. And then, yeah, just playing with these different buttons. I could have like I said, I could have been using this for months without actually like paying attention to any of this and realizing that, oh, I can do all that. So I just find it good to like play around with everything I can possibly do so that I understand it. Even though I did skip some of this. What is this? This looks like a wave thing. Oh, this is getting more confusing. I don't know what any of this is. Delay, attack, hold. This feels like something I don't want to screw around with, but I can kind of get the idea of it. It's like a curve, and you can edit the curve to change the sound. That's like if you want something to be more specific. This seems like more advanced stuff. Oh, more stuff. Levels adjustment. All right, I'm getting to the point where I'm like, overdoing it too. What's that called? Like information overload, basically. If you go too far, too early, it'll um, make things hard to continue, basically.
Xbox Along determines which mixer channel the sound or instrument is being sent to. I'll be covering the mixer later in more detail, but for now, this is essentially how you would add individual effects to your chosen channel. This part here is called the step sequencer, and this is where the fun really begins. So FL Studio's iconic step sequencer is, in my opinion, one of the most beginner-friendly ways to create a loop or drum pattern in any DAW. To add a step, simply left-click on any of these buttons and they'll light up. And to delete the step, just right click on the highlighted step. You can also drag along here to select multiple steps at once. So if I just sequence out 4 kick drums and hit space to play the pattern, as you can hear, FL Studio is looping this sequence to create this simple 4 on the floor kick pattern.
Okay, let me look at that. Let's make frog sounds. All right, so I can drag out. That's cool. Oh, it doesn't go away as easily as it goes. Oh, you have to right click. That's right. Yeah, let's just try this. So if I press space, it plays it. Oh, it doesn't sound good. All right, that's fun. Erase. What does this little green box do, though? Select up and down? I guess that's what it's going to play. No, I don't know what the green box does. Just seems to be what you currently have selected, or something.
To expand on this, let's add a snare and a hi-hat to the channel rack by again dragging the sound in from the browser, and then we can sequence a pattern with multiple sounds. So this pattern now sounds like this. In case you are following along and you're not hearing any sounds, make sure you have pattern selected up here, so FL Studio plays through this pattern as opposed to the whole track, which is currently empty. And at this point, maybe pause the video and create a few basic drum patterns using this sequencer. For example, here's a basic hip-hop drum pattern you can experiment with. Another feature worth mentioning is this graph icon in the top right here, which brings up this parameter editor. You can use these bottom options to edit individual steps in your sequence. For example, by selecting velocity, we can make the kick quieter when the snare hits, like this. And the last feature of the channel rack I want to highlight is this plus button down here. This brings up a list of default and user added VST instruments. If we select one, it will automatically be added to the channel rack. And if you do need help adding your own VST instruments to FL Studio, so they do show up in this menu, I'll leave a link to our quick.
Right, so this is that thing that I did before. So I should have a ton of stuff in here from the Omnisphere, I think. Though I don't remember how to access it. I think it's more plugins. Ah, here we go. No, maybe they're not all in here, or I have to go find it. Oh, here we go, Omnisphere. Loading plugin. Updates are available. Is it loading right now, or what? What do I do? Do I click something? Oh, there we go. All right, so this is all the Omnisphere stuff. Ugh. And this is, yeah, this is a list of everything. Okay, so this is all the crap that I've got. All that. Right, so all this that I saw on the side, this is just default stuff. I think this Omnisphere thing is the only thing I've added. Like, everything else is default, besides this one thing, because this thing cost me money and I didn't want to lose it. This is like all the stuff I have available. Guitars, I got like some fun guitars in here. Ooh, I like that one. Ooh, I look forward to playing around with some of these. So I think I mostly want to be using these ones, right? If I don't want to sound default, basically. I know that there's a thing to where people recognize these sounds like a lot because they're free. So if you want to sound more professional, you need sounds that people don't hear that often. So something like, basically, I want to use stuff in here more often than I use stuff in here, I think, if I can. Otherwise, I'll sound too basic, basically. So they actually have the whole like finger tracking thing too, to make it sound authentic. I swear I could spend like 2 days just going through all the sounds that I got and basically writing down, you know, in a notepad, all the ones that I found um, interesting, so that I have a smaller list of things. Unless there's like a way to favorite things. There might be. I don't want to accidentally delete anything. There's a sort, up and down, sound match. There might be a way to favorite certain ones. Maybe the tutorial will go over that later. All right, let's, now that I got this, I think this is something I want to keep open. Maybe. I don't know. Let's keep going with this.
Quick guide in the description below. So if you do have an instrument in the channel rack, how do we start creating melodies and chord sequences? This actually leads us on to our third building block, which is the piano roll. This is essentially where you compose, slice and edit the MIDI notes of a selected channel with a lot more precision and detail. If you're unsure what MIDI actually is, it's essentially the language that allows computers, MIDI instruments, and other hardware to communicate. MIDI is very different to audio, as it can be really easily changed and manipulated after a performance. For example, if you play a piano melody and slightly mess up halfway through, you can use the piano roll to tweak the individual notes of the performance, giving you a lot more creative flexibility. To show you the piano roll, I'm going to add the VST synth Citrus to the channel rack, which is an FL Studio stock plugin. And to open up the piano roll, we can just right click here and select piano roll. Now we can use this window to create MIDI sequences such as melodies or chords. To add notes, just click within this window like this. You can also right click to delete notes as well. You can then lengthen the notes by dragging the right edge, and you can also click and drag notes around like this. FL Studio 20's piano roll is incredibly intuitive and beginner friendly, and it makes it really easy to create MIDI patterns. Now if we hit space, FL Studio will play through this pattern.
Okay.
Up here we have some really important editing tools. Most of the time you'll be using either this pencil or this paintbrush, which are actually pretty similar. We also have this mute button, which lets you grey out certain notes. This slice tool allows you to chop longer MIDI notes, and this select tool allows you to drag and select multiple notes at once. There are a few other options up here, but these are the main ones you'll need to get.
Okay, let's look at that. I kind of understand all that though. I've seen that sort of thing before. So that piano thing is this, right? Yes. So how do I know what I'm painting in with though? Is it what I currently had selected? Oh, where's that even at? It's gonna be one of these, this one. Is it like what I have selected here is what gets painted? So if I want to paint with frog, and go back to this. Yeah, okay. That seems to be the frog. I love the fact that our first song is frog noise. Oh, it's too loud. Oh, okay, you can hear it. Way too loud. Oh, okay. It goes higher. Oh, wow, that's way too high, though. So, looks like I want to be around 5 if I want actual good sounding things. But this is horrible. Oh, I made another one. So if I right click it, it goes away. Okay. So these are the things he was talking about. This is draw. This is paint. What is the difference between drawing and painting? Well, seems to be the way you drag it is different. So paint lets you do like multiples? Perfect. Delete. So does this let me like mass delete stuff or? Oh yeah, okay. So you can just like, yeah, get out of here. Okay, I like that. That's cool. Mute. Okay. Slice. So yeah, if I didn't want like the end here. Oh, cool. And then I can just right click that. Oh, why was it 2 of them? Wait, what? Okay. You cannot delete by right clicking without having this selected. Okay. Select, zoom. Oh. Oh, what? What's happening? Control. Oh, wait, yeah, there we go. Oh, I see it at the top. That's the whole thing again. Okay. Ah, I see. So this is the zoom window at the top. And it's where I'm currently zooming. And I bet I could drag this too, huh? Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I like that. Um, Playback. I don't know what that is. All right. I got it.
Get started. Another really important feature is this magnet button up here. This lets you choose the behavior of the notes and whether they snap to certain points in the piano roll. For example, the default cell option makes sure the notes snap to these vertical lines. Whereas if we select half step, you can see it's snapping to each half beat, giving you a lot more control over the note. And if we select none, the notes don't snap to anything and you can move them around freely. Okay, so at this point, you might want to pause the video again to practice a little bit with the piano roll. Try experiment with creating some basic melodies or chord
This is a good
sequences.
tutorial.
So now we know how to create drum patterns and MIDI patterns using the piano roll. It's time to bring it all together and start arranging individual patterns to create a complete track using the playlist window. So let's say we have this basic drum loop in our channel rack. What we can now do is just click and drag in here to sequence out 4 instances of this pattern. And like the piano roll, if you right click and drag, it deletes the patterns as well. So remember we need to select song up here And if we press the spacebar, FL Studio will now play through this arrangement.
Wait, go back.
Play loop together and start. So let's say we have this basic drum loop in our channel rack. What we
Okay.
can now do is just click and drag in here to sequence out 4 instances.
Okay, so it's automatically pasting what he had here. I see. I wonder how that works for the piano thing, though. Like, I created this piano deal, but if I go back to, oh, whichever one, this one. Oh, here it is. So it's actually in here. So if I was to actually, like, put this in here, it would actually do frog noises, wouldn't it? Yeah, so the frog noise that I just did is now being pasted just like the last one. It doesn't put it exactly where I wanted it to go. And now I swap this to song. It's a joke, obviously, but now I get how that works. And then right click to get rid of. All right, I understand.
Of this pattern. And like the piano roll, if you right click and drag, it deletes the patterns as well. So remember, we need to select song up here. And if we press the spacebar, FL Studio will now play through this arrangement. So just like the piano roll, we have some similar features up here, like select, slice, and these same snapping options as well. You'll notice this pattern is just called pattern 1 in the playlist and up here. It's always good practice to name your patterns, or your projects can start to get unorganized as you start adding more and more patterns. So what you can do is make sure the channel rack is selected and hit F2 on your keyboard. And then in here, you can rename the pattern. So I'm just going to call this one drums. And if you click here, you can also choose a color for the channel as well. Now over here, you can see the name and color of the drum pattern has changed. So one of the things that makes FL Studio so unique is that these horizontal tracks don't correspond to anything by default. So if you wanted, you could copy this pattern onto any track you want. With this in mind, another good habit to get into is right-clicking the track and hitting auto name. This just keeps everything a little bit more organized as you go along.
Cool.
So at this
real quick, I gotta go to the bathroom. We'll continue this soon. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let's continue. I feel a lot better now. I've already learned some of the basics here. One thing I want to do though, and I'm thinking about it, just the way this is set up with these buttons, I guess it's okay, but I kind of want this piano thing to be right. Like the way I can see both of these windows is kind of cool. It's just weird that when I click the piano button, if I want to go back, I need to click which one? This one? Not that one. Not this one or that one. It's this one. Okay, so I can do piano. Yeah, but it doesn't like bring the other things back. It'd be cool if it just like switched between one or the other. Which makes me kind of think that I want like the piano to be visible off to the side here like the other two are. So that I can just quickly get to it by clicking on it instead of having to remember which button I'm clicking on up here. I mean, I guess that's not too bad. All these things have key bindings associated with them as well. But I could do something like just shrink this down a bit, right? And now I can see all three windows, though clicking on that was less than ideal. But I can't see. I'd have to like lower this one as well, right? Actually, can I even drag this window? Doesn't look like it. Oh no, that's doing the whole thing. Yeah, this window seems to be behaving differently than the other one was. I don't know. I guess I just have to do it. So I click that button and these two to get back to here. A little weird. Yeah, this is less than ideal because if I click anywhere on here, it just automatically does it. Alright. Maybe I do want to bring this back up to the top there. I don't know. I'll come up with the layout that I'm happy with later. For now, we'll just keep it like this. Alright, let's continue.
At this point, I think it makes sense to add a second pattern to this project. So to do this, we can just click this plus button up here and choose a name for our new pattern. So let's just call this piano and choose a color as well. Now you'll notice the channel rack is now completely blank. This is because you're now editing a brand new pattern you just created, which at the moment is just an empty pattern. So let's get a piano sound then. So if we click into Citrus, in this arrow menu up here, we have a bunch of patches or presets to choose from. So let's just go for realistic piano. Now, like we did before, we can just right click here and select piano roll. Now, I'm just going to quickly create a basic piano sequence. So I'll probably cut this so you don't have to watch me make it. Okay, so again, once you have your MIDI sequence, make sure you have pattern selected up here and hit space to listen. So now we want to layer this.
He makes it seem so easy.
We added earlier. So let's close the piano roll, and now all we have to do is left click in the playlist like this. Then again, we can select auto name on this second track. And now you have two tracks that will play simultaneously.
I love pianos and drums.
From here, you can keep adding more elements to the track by creating new patterns or just adding to the existing ones. You can also just drag any audio files you have in the browser directly onto the playlist, which you can then move around and slice in the same way you would with a pattern. And the last thing I want to mention before moving on to the final section of FL Studio is automation clips. If you're new to music production, you may not have heard of automation, but in order to create great professional quality tracks, you need to learn what automation is and how to use it. To put it simply, track automation is a way of automating a specific parameter, such as volume, pan, or reverb. This essentially means that the parameter will change as your track plays. A few examples would be slowly fading in a synth over the course of 4 bars, or adding a filter to a sound during only a certain section of the track. So to add an automation clip, first double click and drag inside this bar to select the section of the track you'd like to add the automation clip to. Let's say we want the piano volume to fade in. So over here in the channel rack, we have the volume knob for our piano. So we can right click and select create automation clip. This brings up this new automation clip underneath the main piano pattern. Inside this clip, you can then drag these nodes to shape how the volume changes over time. You can also right click to add a new node, and in between each node you can edit the tension like this. And finally, if we right click on an individual node, we get some really cool options such as stairs, pulse, or wave. So let's just mute the drums for now, and now when we play the piano, the volume will correspond with this pattern. The mixer is the final section of FL Studio that you'll be using, and for complete beginners to music production, it's probably best to focus on the rest of the process for now and only move on to the mixer once you've fully grasped these first stages. So to open the mixer, click this mixer button in the top menu bar or just press F9. This section is where you'll mix your tracks, focusing on adding and processing effects and fine-tuning your sounds. You can add effects such as reverb, delay, compression, and many other audio effects to your mixer channels. So you'll notice the far left mixer channel is your master channel, which is where you can edit the overall pan, volume, and other functions of the entire song. So to send a specific sound to a mixer channel, left click and drag this value within the channel rack. This will send your sound or instrument to the corresponding mixer channel, in which you can now add effects or change certain parameters. So just to show you how this works, let's send this snare to the 10th mixer channel. Now, if I move this slider, you'll hear it's affecting the snare, as the snare is now being sent to this mixer channel.
I can barely even hear that.
Down the mixer channel, we have a mute or solo.
I know what it's doing,
and
but
a pan knob. There is also a really handy stereo separation control to make the mixer channel sound more spacious. So if we do want to add an effect to this mixer channel, we can select one of these effect slots. For example, let's add Fruity Parametric EQ2. So if I change this EQ curve, you'll hear it's now affecting the snare. You can also add automation clips to effect plugins by right-clicking in the same way we did before. At this point, depending on the effect you've added, you can begin to process various effects to enhance and manipulate your sounds. I won't go much further into this as there are so many different effects you can add, but hopefully you understand the basics of how to add and control an effect in the mixer. FL Studio comes with a huge range of stock plugins, so I'd highly recommend playing around with some of these options. And there we have it, so you should now have a grasp of the basic concepts and functions of FL Studio.
Okay, clap. That was good. I kind of want to look up more of his stuff before doing that. Quickly swap to this. There's an old video. Yeah, there's an old video that I saved that I kind of want to look at again. It was like years ago that I looked at it, but I really liked it, and it gave me a basic idea for what I'm going to be doing. And I'd just like to look at it again before I do any other ones, so that I can kind of get like an idea of what I'm going for. And this one's specifically like catered around video game music, so I think this would be a good one to check out next. And he's got some like really cool music. I've gone through his like profile, so I like his work. Let's take a look at this. I wonder, should I like full screen this or something? Let me look at it real quick so that you can see it a little better. If I do like theater mode, it's gonna make it too big, I think. That's pretty good. You can see it a lot better at least. All right, this is the one. This is how to make game music, RM2K Dev.
Hello and welcome. My name's Ryan.
This is
And
an
welcome to
hour-long
OMGK
video.
Dev. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you guys some really cool and simple tricks to create your own game music. So, music for your games, whatever sort of game you're making. You can use these techniques to create pretty much any kind of music. It doesn't have to be game music, but since my channel is mainly focused on game music, we're going to do some game music. So now, I'm using FL Studio, and I know this program has a lot of stigma from back in its old days when it came out. It was mainly used by kids, and it's another program I think that's sort of been...
Oh yeah, FL Studio is very similar to Game Maker Studio, to where it was basically made for like total beginners. Never be considered for like professional stuff, but since the time they created it, just been adding more and more to it to get it closer and closer to like a professional standard. So just kind of funny. I remember FL Studio when it was called Fruity Loops. I had a buddy. I'd go to his house and he would mess with it. I never played around with it because I was never really into music at all, or at least creation of music, but I thought it was interesting to see how it works. But yeah, I remember it back in the day. Everything was like, it looks so much different from how it looks now. It's just way simpler back then.
Tarnished by its reputation. So a long time ago, basically, this program was mediocre at best, had a lot of issues, and people sort of regarded it as the tool that you would only use if you were a kid or no one really famous. But nowadays this FL Studio has grown up quite a lot, and I think it's worthy of another chance. So let's take a look at what we can do. So I'm going to show you guys some really quick shortcuts first. The first thing I'm going to tell you about is that I don't actually know music theory myself, but I'm still able to create some really cool music. And I'm going to show you how I did that. So the first...
See, that's one of the reasons I like this tutorial, because he just openly admits that, he's not like huge into the music. I'm sure it's changed now, but yeah, when he got started, he didn't really know what he was doing either, but was able to kind of like fake it to make it, right? And now makes pretty great stuff using like the simple tricks, basically. I don't know, all that sounded weird, but yeah, just the idea, like, you don't have to be like all that skilled at it to still pull off some good sounding things, right?
Thing that we're going to do is I'm just going to disable the kick drum, and I'm going to rename this, and I'm just going to call this scale. Now I'm going to show you a trick that allows you to basically create music in scale, in the key, in whatever key you want of music, and you don't even have to know the key. That's how cool this is. So if you right click on scale and select piano roll, you'll be presented with the piano roll, and this is where you can create different sounds. Now, as you can see, every time I place these, it tries to adjust the pitch of that to be this sound, but we don't want that. What we want to do is right click on the little pencil, and this is going to bring you up chords and scales window. So in here you can pick a scale. Now scales are basically just groups of music notes. Like I said, I don't know music theory, so I can't give you the correct terminology here, but as far as I'm aware, they're just groups of notes that work well together. So you've got the major scale, the minor scale, melodic minor scale, you've got major pentatonic scales and blues scales and Asian scales and all sorts of different scales. So they all have a different sound, so experiment with the scale until you find one that you like. I'm just going to work in the major scale for the moment. So I'm going to select and basically just click and drag, and this is going to show me all of the notes that I can play. And depending on where I start this, that's going to be the scale that I'm using. So if I start this on the A, we'll be playing in the A major scale. If I started on the G, we'll be playing in the G major scale. So I'm going to start this on G major, and I'm going to drag these out. And I'm going to make that cover 4 bars, since that's pretty much how long all of our patterns are going to be. Now, if I close off this, what you'll see now is that we have this scale, and because I unticked this little green box over here, it's no longer green. When I play this pattern, you won't hear those notes. So they're actually not making any notes. So that's the first thing I did. Now, go ahead and delete all of the others because you're not going to need those. There we go, I've got rid of those. And I'm going to bring in a synthesizer or maybe a sampler, I'm not sure. Let's bring a sampler in. I'll bring direct wave in. And this is going to give us access to a bunch of different sounds. So if you're new to FL Studio, this might not be the tutorial because I will be moving quite fast through this, but it's really easy to get your head around. So just spend an hour or something and learn how FL Studio works, and then come back to this video, because I'm really just going to show you my process of creating game music without actually knowing music theory. This is actually a programmer's approach to creating music.
Good. So yes, that's the way to explain what I was trying to say earlier. This is a programmer's approach to creating music. That's why I was really into this video when I saw it, and I was like, oh, I want to watch this later when I actually do music. That's exactly how I need to think about it, like programming or like art.
From here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select a preset. I've got a ton of presets, so I just got to find one that sounds good. And I think what we're going to create is some kind of RPG village music. So let's try and get a fluty sound. I don't like that. Maybe let's try a synthesized flute. So if I delete this and bring in a synthesized flute, I'll bring in a synthesizer. Sakura will do.
I wonder what he's clicking to do that like plugin thing. It looks like he's got like some sort of custom UI going on here.
Here we go. There we go. So that'll do. I'm going to use the Sakura plugin, and that's going to give us some nice flute sounds or bowed string instruments. I don't know. I think that sounds like a flute. It sounds more like a cello. Whatever. That doesn't matter. We'll use that. So if you right click on that and select piano roll, you'll notice that those notes I created earlier are now visible. The way that you get this to appear like this is if you click this little arrow and go down to, I think it's helpers, and then enable ghost channels. Now what that means is it's actually going to show you the notes from scale that we created earlier.
I totally get this, and this is really cool. So yeah, like the idea of, I have no idea like where notes go to actually make them sound good. This seems like the shortcut to making stuff sound good. So I want to go, I can do frog scale, that'll be fine. So if I go into this, which I have to go to, which one of these is it? It's this one. This is piano. I guess that looks like piano keys on the left, so I should look at that. Okay, so I can remove all this. And then he said to go to, was it the paintbrush or the pencil? I think it was the pencil, and right click it. Well, right clicking is not doing anything. Left clicking is not doing anything. All right, let's go back and figure out like how he started, because I've already forgotten what he did there to get the scale.
Scale. Now I'm going to show you a trick that allows you to basically create music in scale, in the key, in whatever key you want of music, and you don't even have to know the key. That's how cool this is. So if you right click on scale and select piano roll, you'll be presented with the piano roll, and this is where you...
Okay, I gotta figure out how to rename it. Was it right click it and rename? I know you can hit F2 somewhere, like if I just hit F2 now, that'll do the channel, won't it? What did I just rename? I renamed something. I think I renamed the channel, yeah. No, that's not what I want to do. I want to rename this. Replace, change color icon, rename color icon. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. I'll rename that one later. Okay, so we got a scale. We've got this.
You can create different sounds. Now, as you can see, every time I place these, it tries to adjust the pitch of that to be this sound, but we don't want that. What we want to do is right click on the little pencil.
Yeah, I did that. It didn't actually do anything. Yeah, I'm right clicking. So something's changed here, I think. It might be like the wrench or something that'll pull that up. So what does this look like? We're looking for scales, basically. But yeah, the right clicking isn't actually working. It's probably like an older version. Ooh, scale highlighting. Oh, maybe they got their own thing now. Major? That definitely changed it. Is it the light ones or the dark ones? Yeah, it looks like they did their own thing, but I have no idea what I'm looking at. Okay, what? I have this scale highlighting, but oh, okay, so it's for each one I had to set it up here. So if I wanted something in like G, so is it the white ones? I'm guessing the white ones are the scale. What did he do?
This is going to bring you up chords and scales window. So in here you can pick a scale. Now scales are basically just groups of music notes. Like I said, I don't know music theory, so I can't give you the correct terminology here, but as far as I'm aware, Asian. So I'm going to select and basically just click and drag, and this is going to show me all of the notes that I can play. And depending on where I start this, that's going to be the scale that I'm using. So if I start this on the A, we'll be playing in the A major scale. If I started on the G, we'll be playing in the G major scale. So I'm going to start.
Okay, so he's in G major, G4. So if I go here, this helpers, yeah, helpers, scale. So I don't know the difference between G and G hashtag. Is that, what's the number? Is this G major? This must be G major, right? That's what I'm in. Default, automatic. All right, whatever, G. So G4 is where is that? Where's that? Here. Okay, so what he's got on here is one skip. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then right next to it, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, and then right next to it, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it is the white highlight, and I just got to keep in mind it goes from, yeah, like the number to the next number. So that's my scale. I don't have to do exactly what he did before, because it looks like FL Studio has this sort of setup. So these are all notes that go well together, basically. As opposed to putting them like randomly, you won't get like great sounds. Okay, well that's good to know. It looks like I won't have to do exactly what he's doing.
This on G major, and
so let's go forward again.
It's more like a cello. You'll notice that those notes I created earlier are now visible. The way that you get this to appear like this is if you click this little arrow, put it earlier, and that's going to show it to you. And all you're doing is you're able to see them, and it's going to give you a into scales piano roll. You notice that we started on G and we ended on F sharp. So if I do that again, this time we're going to see the exact same thing. If I start on G and end on F sharp, if I do it on one below as well, start on G, it's going to end on F sharp. And now what we've created is a template of notes in our piano roll for any instruments we add later that show us where we can play.
Okay, so yeah, I basically have that.
Good. And I'm going to demonstrate that just by placing down some random notes. Now to stop creating those chords, you just right click on the pencil and select none. And if I place down a note, you'll see it's quite long. It's the 4 bars we created before, so I'm just going to shrink that down. There we go. And I'm just going to place some random notes. Sounds good. And I'll just place down some more random notes. Basically, I'm just trying to create myself a nice little melody here, some sort of lead sound that starts and ends on the same note would be preferable as well. Let's do that, and then because I started on a C, I should end on a C as well. So where's my closest C? There it is. I'm gonna end up there.
Okay, so start. So you don't have to really stay in the same number, but you want to end on the same type of note, but it doesn't have to be the same number of notes. Okay, that's like a rule. I feel like I should write these rules down. So chord, I don't know if it's called a chord, but yeah, I want to end on the same letter. Doesn't have to be same number.
Now let's play that and see how that sounds. So basically what we've got here is, it doesn't sound perfect, but all of the notes work together, and I don't know music theory, but they all work together and they sound good. I mean, there was some off notes there, and that's just because I placed them in strange positions on the beat. We just fixed that by simply moving them around a little bit, shuffling those notes around until we get something that works a little better. Now let's give that a shot. So that's going to be sort of our leady, our main instrument for our RPG song. Now, I'm not going to use the piano roll for this. I only showed you guys that so that you can use the piano roll if you wanted to, but I prefer to play with a MIDI keyboard. So I just got a simple MIDI keyboard here. It's nothing special, but it gets the job done. So I'm going to erase all of these notes, and I'm going to get rid of my scale because I only showed you guys that technique just because I think it's really cool and you can do tons of stuff using that technique. It's going to make it really easy for you to do things. So yeah, that's the first tip in this video, is you can create a scale like that. It's going to help you out a lot. So for this video, we're going to create some sort of RPG villagey music. So we need possibly to come up with something that sounds like an RPG village. So I figured that they'd have like flutes and harps, and you got to think about the area that you're trying to create music for as well. So if I bring up a browser, and I'm just going to have a look for RPG, let's have a look. Bring up and have a look for role-playing games.
So
that's not the kind of RPG.
He's looking for artwork to look at, basically.
Perfect. So let's create our.
Oh yeah, he finds something that basically like his reference for the scene, so that he can get an idea of like the feeling of it. And I can do this really easy because I've already got all this stuff already figured out. I just need to like load up the game or load up a recording of the game and watch it on repeat. And just, it's something to look at, to visualize how the music in that area should feel, right? That's kind of like what he's doing here.
Our theme with him. I'm going to move. It's going to sound like. So I'm going to try and bring in some sort of harpy sound. There we go. So we've already got something that sounds quite cool. Now let's bring that in here. And I mean, I don't really know what most of these knobs do. I know what the ADSR section does. That's just attack, decay, sustain, and release. That basically adjusts how the note sounds, but the rest of it I've got no idea about because, like I said, I don't really know too much music theory. So I'm just going to tweak it a little bit, play with that until I think it sounds a little different than the preset.
So yeah, he's getting it away from the basic, right? What sounds more unique.
All right, so I like it to have a longer sound, and apparently that's what this knob here does. So I'm going to turn that all the way up. There we go. So
I love this strategy of just like find a knob that does kind of the thing you want. And it's like, oh yeah, that's the knob I want, and just mess with it.
Create a
you don't actually
RPG melody now. So for this
care
scene here, I'm going to leave this on the screen so you can see it. I'm going to try and create something that fits that. So at the moment, I'm really just playing white notes because I'm not really following a scale. I only know one scale. So I could play, you know, those notes, but I mean, that doesn't really fit.
So he doesn't know.
So I'm just going to play some
and he
white
doesn't
notes.
care.
I'll try and drop a black note in there every now and then, and we'll see how it sounds. That's kind of ominous.
Yeah.
You know, that could be used for like a spooky scene, so we're not going to do that. Alright, so I like that. There we go, so let's do that. We're going to use that. So, RPG music's typically not 130 BPM, so if I play that, you hear that's kind of like... That's like dance music. We don't want that. We want to slow that down a bit. You know, so... something like that works a bit better. So basically, like I said, I'm just playing random notes here, guys. It might not sound great at first, but we're gonna slowly improve it over time. This is the programmer's way. You create a prototype, you come back, you refine, you optimize, you debug if there's something that doesn't sound right. You come back, you fix it up. I mean, we're working in digital here, so we can just change stuff as we feel like. It's not really like we're recording it onto tape and it's stuck like that forever. So I'm going to record that. I like the speed, 105 BPM. Again, nothing scientific here. I just slowed it down until it sounded like an RPG song. I'm going to keep the metronome enabled for now, and I'm just going to record this straight into the Sekiro track. Alright, so I don't like that, so I'm just going to erase all those notes because that didn't sound good. And like I said, we're just going to repeat this process until we get something that sounds good. Alright, so we'll start with that. Alright, so I'm quite happy with that. It sounds a little bit better. Now you'll notice that we may have gone 1, 2, 3, 4. We may have gone a bit long there, so I'm just going to get rid of those last two notes because we're making a small loop here, so we don't want it to be too long. So I'm going to play that back again and we'll see what that sounds like. So you'll see there was a couple of issues there. Some small glitch notes at the start, so I'm trying to fix those up. Might have been a note lower. No. So I'm just going to adjust that using my keyboard. There we go. Alright, so now, like I said, not a music guy, so this is probably ridiculously out of time, but thankfully in digital music there's this awesome tool called Quantize. So if you click this little down arrow, go over to Tools and find the one that says Quantize.
Okay, I want to find this. So, arrow, Tools, Quantize, or Control Q.
What this is going to do, and I don't know if you saw it just then, but it basically snaps all those notes to be perfectly in time with the metronome. And the reason why I played it with a MIDI keyboard is just because the notes are going to have like a more natural feel to them, rather than if I placed them all in by hand, where they're all going to have the exact same volume level, because I hit these keys at different volumes.
They're like
So
different sizes and volumes. Sounds more natural.
So the first thing you'll notice is there's a glitch at the start. That second note is way too fast, so we can just manually adjust that. Now the third note. Maybe that one. So what you'll see there is we've got another glitch note, so I'm not sure how that bit's supposed to sound. Let's have a look. So that bit there's obviously supposed to go over. We're just going to adjust these manually because the computer doesn't get it right all the time. You can't expect it to get it right all of the time. But we can get it pretty close. So that first note there is wrong. Let's try and move that over here. No, it's a bit faster, I think. No, let's try that. That might be a bit better.
I love that while I hear him editing this, I can hear it myself like, okay, I know that sounds weird. Like as long as I can do that and then adjust like he's doing to just make those little tiny improvements to like get it to be where it is, and then I let the computer do all the like the makeup work to where getting it on the right, you know, scale and getting it in the right like timing, then I feel like I could do the exact same thing, right? So I just love this process to how he's going about making his music.
I think that last note's a bit odd. Let's try and move it back there. Let's get rid of that last note. That's better. So I'm quite happy with that now. We've got a little section of music, I suppose. It sounds quite good. And that's going to be our like leady sound. So I'm just going to paste that and make a couple of those in our playlist. And I'm going to play that on loop.
I notice he does things in fours a lot too. Like four notes, four patterns.
Let's take a look at our image again. So it's feeling a bit soft at the moment. Maybe we'll add some sort of strings. So I'm going to add a string section. Let's do that. I'm going to create a new pattern. Just going to get a new instrument going. What sort of strings do we have? There we go. I like that. This can be like our... Nope. So like I said, just, you know, pluck around, play with some notes, see what they sound like. Now, because we've actually already got some music in this sort of... we've already got some music in this area of space. I mean, if you consider the layout on your keyboard, different spaces from here to here, we already have music filling that space. So we don't want to make more music sounding out of space, or it's just going to get confusing sounding. If I start playing, see, it just sounds confusing. So what we need to do is we need to mix it up. We need to change the space of music. So now let's try and play our music somewhere else. Let's play it down here. Let's just play it down there.
See, that way of explaining it makes so much sense to me too. It's just something I might stay in like the same area of the keyboard, but just like the way you explain that really clicked with me to where, yeah, you don't want your music kind of in the same range or whatever. So I'm just going to remember, write that down as a note.
So this is going to be like a bass. I suppose maybe we'll get a different sound for this. There's a lot of different sounds here. These are just atmospheres. No, let's just go back with what we had. Yep, that'll do. Something like that maybe. So let's just play that music and have a listen to what we get. So I'm just playing random notes, and they're kind of similar. They're basically, I think they're just the same notes that I was playing. Same notes, I'm just playing them in a different order. There you go. I like that. Those 4 notes sound good, so let's record that. Alright, so basically I'm just going to hit the record button again, and let's try that. And that will do. And again, same deal as before, go back into the piano roll, quantize that so you get it perfectly in time, because like I said, I don't play perfectly in time because I am not skilled at all. So if any of those notes look off, just delete them and replace them with ones that are on, basically. And now what you get is let's have a look at our image and see if we're matching the theme of this song. So we're kind of there. I mean, this image might be a little bit cuter than what we've got, but we're heading there. So let's have a look. Alright, so the next thing is the volume of these sounds, because obviously that's way too loud. You've got this like really jarring like in the background. We want to turn that down a little bit. So I'm going to jump into our not here. I'm going to go back to that pattern, and I'm going to assign it into an area on this mixer. And what this is going to allow me to do is this is going to let me adjust the volume of these sounds. So for the first one, I'm going to give it the first effects slot, and for the second one, I'm going to give it the second FX slot. Now, again, this is like basic FL Studio usage, so if you don't know what I'm doing here, just go take one of those 1-hour courses on how to use FL Studio, and you'll get this down in no time. So now let's have a look, and you'll see those are now mapped to these 2 channels of mixing. So we can adjust the volume of these. You can take it away or bring it in. And it's the same for that one. So I think what we want to do is we want to lower the volume of that bass. Alright, so now we've got something in the background, we've got something in the middle. I think we should add something into the foreground. So if, like I said, if you look at your keyboard or even look at the piano roll, you've got these like sections of music. So if we look here, you see from there to there, that's one section of music, and then the same deal from there to the other one, it's another section of music, and from here to the one above, it's another section of music. So we filled up that middle space and the bottom space. Now I think we need to fill up that top space. So we need something up there. I don't know, just messing around here. So what I want to put up there, I want some sort of bells, because I think bells in RPGs, they work. There's always a bell. You hear it all the time, and it's like a dong. It just echoes in the distance. So I'm just going to load up a preset, and I've got a bell. Here's some bells, and let's try this glass one. There we go. So we've got a bell. I quite like the sound of that bell. I have absolutely no idea how this synthesizer works, but I'm just going to start changing stuff and see what it sounds like. And there, just reset it back to what it was and try again. There we go. So I've adjusted the sound and I think it sounds good.
I kind of skipped over that, but there is a way to reset stuff back to what it was, which I am curious to figure out because that is kind of important. So this one, yes. I don't know if I have anything actually selected here. Okay, I have that keyboard or whatever that I had before. There we go. So, how do I reset to default? Let's say I change something in here. Automation. Save, initialize, copy, clone. Whoa, what did I click on there? What is this? Is this like different categories? How do I go back to what I was looking at before? I don't know what I clicked on to make the window change. I just clicked off. Okay, so this is like some sort of search thing. Why did this change again? I didn't click on that. Info? I don't know how to go back. What if I close it and open it again? Well, damn. Oh, is this like rating? Okay, here we go. I have no idea. I don't see a button that will go back to what I had before. What does that do? Is that like refresh? Definitely none of this. Project, share, patch browser? What is that? Tag, settings, light version? What? Why does it say complete? Settings. There we go. What did I click on to open that in the first place? I swear I didn't click on. I clicked like here or. Right, I had this open. Oh, I must have clicked on that. Okay. So that's like a window on top. It's just really hard to see. All right, but I still have the pitch. Oh, because I'm in a different one. I don't even remember what I was in before. Ooh. Okay. So again, if I change this, I see the A here. This changes to show that I have like a custom setting now. So okay, I can click off of it and just come back to it and that'll reset it. So that's one way to do it. So I'm guessing I could do it and then I can save it as like a new one that I've done. Okay, if you click anywhere, it brings that up, which is weird. Anywhere in there, okay. All right. What is that? Okay, that's what happens when you click that. All right. Well, at least I know if I ever make settings and I want to change it, I just click off of it and come back, and it'll redo it. Okay.
So yeah, we've got something that sounds good, and it's occupying that top space. So let's have a listen to our song and see what we can do with it.
I love you hear him just playing with stuff and trying to figure out like what fits in the song. Like I feel like that's how I would end up having to do it. And just slowly build it up.
There we go. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to use that bell to fill in the spaces that we left with the middle sound. So I'm going to create a third pattern now, and I'm going to record some of this in, and we'll see how it sounds. Alright, so we got something in. Didn't sound too great, didn't sound too bad, so let's just have a look at it. I think that last note was a bit weird, so I'm going to remove that. Again, we're going to quantize that to make sure that it's in time, perfect time. We're just going to have a listen to that pattern and see what it sounds like. So that note there, it's not right. Let's have a look at this. There we go. So now we've got something that's in time. Sounds alright. So I'm going to assign that to FX channel 3. There we go. So now we'll see that moving over here in FX channel 3. And I'm just going to place that. Where does it fit? I think it fits there, doesn't it? Oops. There we go. Let's try that. There we go. So we've got something that works. We're going to paste that in the same space.
It is not the same space he had before. Line, not line. Oh, he's moving it back one each time. Oh no, he's just not figured it out yet. Okay, they changed it.
Now we can adjust the volume on that, so it's not in the way. We just want to feel it out. We want it to be there, but we don't want it to be overpowering that main section. Let's have a look at our reference image. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that so far. The thing that it's lacking is some sort of movement. We've got this sound, and it's playing, and it doesn't sound bad, it doesn't sound good. It's lacking rhythm is what it's lacking. I think that's the right word for it. So I'm going to put my MIDI keyboard away now, and I'm going to bring out another piece of equipment. And that is the Native Instruments machine. Now, I have, like I said, I have this equipment, but I really don't know how to use it, which probably isn't the best reason to have this equipment. But nevertheless, you guys don't need to have a MIDI keyboard or a machine, Native Instruments machine, to do this. I'm just showing you guys the process that someone goes through who doesn't actually have any music theory experience, or really any experience at all with music, to create something that sounds good. I mean, I have a little bit of experience. Like, I play guitar, but I never took lessons, and I don't know chords, and I don't know scales and things like that. I look back to software and guides online all the time for information about theory. So basically, get any kind of drum machine that you can find. Doesn't have to be hardware.
Oh, okay.
Fruity Loops
The thing he's got right now is like some sort of drumming thing.
has one inbuilt called the
I think my MIDI keyboard has like a drum, like touch pad at the top of it that I might be able to use for this.
PC, you can use that, and you can also use that in combination with a MIDI keyboard. So I'll load that up just to show you. There you go, that's the FPC. And if you load up some sort of, look at that, I don't even have anything downloaded here. Let's just download something so I can show you. I don't know how long that's going to take. Oh, there's something loaded here. So basically, as you can see, what that's doing. That comes with Fruity Loops. That's completely free. So you guys can just, use that. But I'm going to use the machine because I have the hardware for it and I like the way that it works, to be honest. So what I'm going to do is I've already used up these 3 inserts here on my mixer. So I'm going to use the 4th one for machine. So I'm going to add an instance of machine.
Machine spelled with an S.
Now that I've got my Native Instruments machine up, I am going to find a drum kit that sort of matches this village. Now I think what we get in this village is maybe bongos and like some sort of tropical things because they got a bit of water here and some sort of bird. And I don't know who made this image, by the way. I just opened this up on Google Images to get some sort of reference for the theme of this song, basically. So let me play the song and I'm going to find a drum kit that suits. So I'm just going to go through the library of pre-made drum kits. Here you go, percussion kits. And I'm going to load up a conga. Let's have a look. So right off the bat, you'll notice that it comes with some really cool stuff. It comes with some, really cool drum loops. And you can scroll through those and get different kinds. But really, I'm just using that at the moment to find a sound that I think works. And if you're using the inbuilt Fruity Loops one, you can just load up a stock pattern and load drum kits into it and see what that sounds like. Let's try this let's try the Lion Kendang kit. That sounds interesting.
It gives it more of a
I like that kit. It has
Savannah.
sort of like Asian feel to it.
I think it's more like
I don't
African.
know if it is, but it's got those like big drums and lots of little clapping drums as well. So I think that suits this picture quite well. So I'm going to use that. Now I've got these on the pads, so that's me tapping the pads there. So we need to find. Actually, you know what? Let's try a couple of other kits first and see what else we have. Let's try an Indian kit. No, definitely not that. Try a Middle Eastern kit. No, I don't think that suits either.
God, that totally reminds me of like something you'd hear in Chrono Cross, maybe though. Taiko.
That could work.
Now that's Japanese.
Alright, let's try that. So I'm going to move to an empty pattern.
I like taiko drums.
So basically I tap around. I find some sounds that are going to work. And basically I play in something that I think works. So I just keep tapping around until I find some drums that sound nice. No, so I think we've got this one, I think works quite well. That one, and that one's going to be our mains. So what I need to do is I'm going to make this into a 2-bar loop, and I'm going to start tapping those in now. And I do it one by one. I don't tap them all in at the same time because I can't do that. I'm not that skilled. So I'm just going to tap them in instrument by instrument until we get to a point where it actually sounds reasonable and it's built up and it's got some movement to it, and then we can play that, we can lower the volume on that, we can add some echo and some reverb until we get a space, and then we'll see how it sounds from then. So let me play this and record the track. Okay, so I like that. Now you'll see.
I like this way of like being able to progressively just add little bits as it's on a loop, right? Seems so much easier than having to do like some like full thing, right? You just add like where you feel like it needs to go, delete it from there.
Those are out of time, pretty bad, I know. But what we do here is we also have quantize. So I'm just gonna bang, and now they'll be in time. So we quantize and everything comes back in time. And a lot of actual musicians and actual producers probably will kill me for using quantize so much, but that's what you use when you don't have skill.
That's right.
Right, so we've added a couple of more instruments there. Those are not in time, so I'm going to play that back and then I'm going to quantize that as well. Alright, so I like that. So at the very beginning of the loop, I add this offbeat sort of kind of sound. I'm going to add that in as I record this so you guys can hear what that sounds like. Alright, so that's going to be our like main drum pattern. Now we need some sort of like shakers, like kind of in the background, to sort of like, you know, move that forward a bit. So I'm going to move to another group and I'm going to bring in another drum kit. So you mix and match drum kits. They don't all have to be the same, you know. We can look at that. That's perfect.
Darabuka. I like that.
I'm actually not tapping that fast. It's actually a nice button that does that for me. So every time I push the button, I get that. So I like that. So let's bring some of that in. And we also need to increase that to 2 bars as well, so it plays along at the same time. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just tapping away until we get some sounds that work. Basically, it's basically just being random until it sounds good, and I'll try and.
So, God, we've watched so much of this so far. Weird stream, I know. But basically I just wanted to stream this to show like how I'm learning this stuff. Basically just watching these tutorials, playing around with it as I go. Hopefully breaking it all down into smaller bits that are easier to understand and play along with. I guess I've showed so much of this video, I might as well show what he had at the end, which I think should just be on the very end. But yeah, I'm basically gonna do stuff like this. I'm gonna figure out I'm gonna figure out this whole FL Studio thing, what I have going here. Maybe try some like basic stuff, you know. Probably never going to make like anything that'll actually stick into the game. You never know, that could happen across something, but kind of like this is what I'm going to be doing the next few days, is just like playing around, messing with stuff. I'm hoping that I'm doing sound effects actually next. I didn't really talk about that, but some of these sound effects I'll be able to get from these different sounds that I've got. If I find something that I like for like a selection button, and you know, I can like work the I don't know, tweak the little knobs and stuff to make it a unique sound that I can use, and then I can export. You know, I don't have to do like all music, I can just export a single sound. And I can get some of my sounds here, There are a couple that I would like to record by using my microphone. Basically, I'll go find an object or something that makes a sound that I like. I'll probably do that for like certain water noises. I know I did want to make it to where like the inflatable ducky thing that you get. I wanted it when it pops. I just want it to be a sound. So I'm just gonna do that with my mouth, and make that pop sound because I just think it's funny when if it pops, it just makes that high pitch, kind of like clearly made with the mouth. So it's kind of like the idea for a lot of this. Some of it, like, I have no idea what my sound's going to be. Some of it I kind of have in my head. I was thinking of actually recording a voice line for the Ready thing, though I don't know if I'll like that or not, So it's just a lot of like, I might try it in several different styles and I'll just pick the one that I liked. Instead of doing like, one selection noise, I might do like a selection noise where I use like a physical object. I might do one where I use like FL Studio to create a sound. And there's also like these there's other like websites and stuff you can go to that can help you like generate sound effects and stuff. That I could try that as well. I've saved some of that in my bookmarks. So kind of the idea of what I have for getting started with all this.
Edit as much of this out as.
But let's go and listen to like how his music turned out at the end here. So yeah, this is like what he ends up with.
So once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this showed you a little bit about the process that you can go through, not knowing a great amount of music theory to actually come up with something quite good, something especially fitting for the song.
So yeah, it's a really good video. I liked it. I did have a few more things I wanted to talk about. I might as well do that real quick. Let me swap back to this so I can go find my paper. I wrote down a while back a bunch of rules for video game music. I'm hoping to find that again. I don't remember where I wrote that down at though. I know it's in here somewhere. I just gotta find where it is exactly. It might be in this. Here we go. Songs and song structures. Okay. So these are the rules I came out with for making video game music good. And basically the way I kind of come up with these rules was just looking at a lot of my favorite video game music and paying attention to like the way they're structured to make them I don't know, enjoyable and also like not annoying. So this is what I ended up coming up with that is so it's yeah, there's usually about like 25 seconds of an opening sound, usually a simple tune that builds up. So yeah, most of them they start rather slowly, or there's like an intro into it basically, and then there's going to be like this variance thing. Okay, so about 25 seconds of closing sound, and this is different from the way that it opens. Or there's 5 to 10 seconds of variance. This needs to sound different from opening, and then about 20 seconds of the opening sound remixed. So this is like the middle bit, and then about a 5-second outro that goes into the loop of the opening again. And then after that, make a 5 to 10 second intro to the song on its own file. So, okay, when the music starts, and most of them, there's like a 5 to second unique intro sound in a lot of them. So like right when you enter the room, this like sound effect or this sound bit plays before the music actually starts, and it's like a unique intro into the music. And then once it starts, it's like this opening, and then it's got like basically the whole point of it is there's a lot of variation in the sound. You can think of it like the way I think of it in a video game. A video game is boring if every area in the game you go to all looks the exact same, right? Like if the entire game takes place in a desert and it's all brown and it's all boring, by the end, you know, it doesn't take long before you're like sick of that. And that's kind of like pacing, right? So you want to like have different varied areas that all have a different look to them, a different feel to them. And music is like the same sort of way. If you have the exact same sound that stretches through the whole thing and then put that on repeat, sounds horrible. So the idea is like you have a little bit in the beginning, a little bit in the middle, a little bit towards the end, and they all have their own different kind of cadence and sound to it, even though it's, you know, the same song. But that little like structured 1, 2, 3, as it's repeating, it makes it to where it doesn't get boring or it doesn't get like monotonous. So that's like something that I found is really important for creating a song. An example of that, I do have music that I had made for Gazzard, this Poison Forest one, which this is one friend made it, and then I edited it to sound a little bit more. I got rid of like any sort of like high notes or anything that repeats that doesn't sound great upon like multiple repeats. Like, most important part about video game music is you can listen to it for like 30 minutes in a row without getting really upset about it, you know, and that's a hard thing to do. So that's like the unique appeal of video game music is, you know, you gotta make it for the reason or for the purpose of looping. So this is one that we had made, and it starts with like this opening. Basically just a simple sort of track, and it goes on for about 20 seconds, 25 seconds, and then a different section, right? And then a different section, still kind of similar to the other ones. And then drop it back to where basically take out a lot of the instruments from before, and it's just nice simple sound. And it goes even further than that to where it's like taking away even more. Yeah, this one. Basically we pull back all this sound stuff and just have like the thing in the background, and then slowly start building it back up again. And basically the end of your song is like everything's coming back in, you know, all of it together. And I think this is the correct way to structure a song for a video game to make it sound good and be very enjoyable on repeat listening or when it's looping. So this song, it's so varied throughout the whole thing, even though it's only 2 minutes long. I feel like I could listen to this for a very long time and not get bored of it, right? It'll just keep looping. Also, really like this song, by the way. Also, you can hear this sometimes play on my own video game playlist. So, yeah, that was the composer I was using before. I really wanted him to keep composing for me because he's really good, but I guess he wasn't interested, so oh well. I'm gonna have to do it myself. I'm gonna have to learn how to do this. Like, I can edit a song that's already been made, but creating one from scratch is totally new experience, right? So I have an idea for like the theory of how it's supposed to be structured, but I don't really know how to get the beginnings of it going so that you have something to edit and work off of. Okay, so yeah, it's just something I wanted to talk about. It's a, like I said, it's a weird stream because really all we were doing was looking at tutorials. But yeah, I know I see a lot of people like ask about the very like how you get started, and usually it's something like this. I'll watch a few tutorials. So just some other thoughts about like these tutorials is if I go back to this, like where I found this tutorial, Beginner's Guide to FL Studio, there were like hundreds of tutorials on YouTube. I picked one which happened to be very good. I was very happy with it. That was Producer Sphere. I liked his tutorial and I liked him, so that means I'll probably go into his channel and find more of his work because I just know that I've got a certain quality that I like. It's good to stick with what you find. But there's another thing with this like tutorial thing. It's definitely possible to get like to overdo it, and I've done that before to where I will watch too many tutorials without actually trying any of it, and none of it actually like converts into real knowledge. If that makes sense. So I think it is important to, you know, it's great to watch these tutorials. It's free knowledge, and it really makes, for me, I learn really well when I see a good, well-paced tutorial explaining things and breaking things down. But yeah, it's just important not to like overdo it too much either. So I still feel like I'd like to watch what I want to watch now. I've seen it like a basic tutorial on how to use FL Studio, right? And I've seen a basics tutorial on like how to get the music on the right chords and how to slowly build it up to get it created. I feel like I want to just watch another video that's also maybe from like a different perspective of like just how you get you know, from zero to something to work with in like a brand new song and make it sound good. And then if I can get past that little step, then it's just like I feel confident that I can do the editing part. It's just getting it from zero to, you know, something to work with is the part that I feel is most difficult, and something that sounds good, right? Because you don't want to edit something that just sounds awful. You want to edit something that's at least close enough to where you can kind of start hearing it in your head. And once you can get to that point, I think it just becomes a lot easier to like, okay, I know what this should sound like, so let's do that. And then once I got that figured out, then I've understand how to do the structuring part too, because basically when you're creating the song, you're creating like the end of the song, right? It's with all the different instruments activated, and that's like what you want at the end. And then when you do the structuring part, you just like, you open up with only a couple of the instruments, and then maybe you take away some and add that different variants, and at the end of the song is when everything comes in, and it's kind of like your, you know, the whole orchestra's going or whatever in your head. And then you close out with like a nice little transition that goes back into the loop from the beginning. All that makes sense to me. Right now, it's just, for me, it feels like I really need a little more help to get to that creation phase. So if I was to relate this to artwork, because that's how I tend to think of things, I think I could do really good at like the whole coloring and masking and shading phase. It's the sketching and line work phase, right, that I need to get as far as music is concerned. I need to get that part down, and then once I get that, I'm totally golden for the later parts, I feel like. Or at least, may not be that great, but I don't feel intimidated by it at all. I do feel intimidated by the sketchwork thing, and that's like actually all artists go through that, so it makes sense that music's going to be the exact same way. Like, it's going to be hard to get it sketched out, but once you get that far, then it's just like, okay, I can see the end goal now. Now I know what to do. So I hope that makes sense. I don't know if this is a good video. I guess it is. It's pretty long. I don't know if I'll upload this to YouTube though. Like I said, I'm not too comfortable about like, I'm basically just like restreaming other people's content. And I did make like a couple comments in there about what I'm doing, but I don't know. I also kind of feel like it's important to show that process as well, so that anybody who's learning something new feels a little more confident that that's what everybody goes through, right? And then all you got to do is get over that hump, and then once you're over it, you start learning, start getting good at it, and then other people look at you and say, "How did you do that?" Anyway, I think I'm gonna end here. There's not much else I want to talk about, I don't think. As far as like streaming this stuff, I don't feel comfortable streaming any of it until I at least have an idea of what I'm going to do, because otherwise you're just watching me fail constantly. I don't know if that would be entertaining. It sounds horrible, especially with music. Like, out of anything, you just listening to bad music doesn't sound like a good stream at all. So I'm probably going to make like a couple test music. I'm going to do sound effects, a lot of the sound effects on my own, probably. And I'll show sound effects off on the next video. But hopefully when I get music, I'll already have like a song or two done. And then we'll build like another song once I have an idea of what I'm doing. And I think that'll be my next stream. And that'll probably take me like, I feel like that's a couple weeks away. I don't know, at least 1 or 2, maybe 3 weeks away. I don't know. It might not be that bad. It depends on how long it takes me to get through these sound effects. There's not that many. But there's a lot of like ambient sound effects, which are a lot harder to do than normal sound effects. Like, I don't know, Big Splash. I could probably do that. I feel like I just need to find like some stock sound effects that I can use and edit that are legal, you know, copyright free. Oh yeah, that's a bad background for this. But yeah, I feel like I need to find some stock sound effects, because there's some things here that I just won't be able to do myself, like boat engine sounds and planes taking off, and then like waves and stuff, or a beach. Like, I don't have beaches around here. I can't even simulate that music, that sound. So I'm gonna have to find some sort of like recorded audio and something that I can edit and work with. I might be able to get like crickets, but actually it's winter right now, so yeah, there's no crickets right now. So it's just a lot of things that I feel like I'm gonna have to find some sort of like sound effect resource that I can pull from. I'll probably have to look that up. I just don't know where to go to get like copyrights or free stuff. Though I know it's out there. Like dolphin noises. I don't even know with that. There's a lot of this I can kind of feel in my head. These depth finder noises, I remember from a child listening to a depth finder make noise. I'm just going to like try and recreate those sounds so that I'll get unique sounds. And I'm just going to go through all this, like all these different instruments, and I'm going to find something that sounds kind of like what's in my head, and then I'm going to do that. Honestly, for like Harpoon, this is where we get into this other like argument to where my game is based off of the NES game Jaws, and in that game, not all the sound effects actually made sense. For one, they're all like mid-eyes from like an NES audio chip, so that limited them a lot, but you know, for what they can do. I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm definitely not going to do like chiptune stuff. Like, I didn't do, for the same reason that I didn't do like pixel art. I don't want to do like retro music, so, or retro sound effects. But I do like the idea of making sound effects that aren't exclusively like Like, yeah, I could go and find like what it sounds like when a harpoon or a bullet fires underwater, and I could just use that one for one. But I think it's more fun if it's like and more like an artistic, uh, what's the word here? It's an artistic. I can't think of the word. Um, Take on it. There's a better word there, but yeah, something that's not quite what it's supposed to be, but it's a fun sound effect. I just noticed that in a lot of the NES games I played, that they'll have fun sound effects that you don't really know what they are, but they're just enjoyable to listen to. Like in Dino Wars, there's the explosion sound effect, which you can tell it's an explosion, but it doesn't sound like any other explosion I can think of. But it's also really satisfying to hear that, like ka-chow or whatever noise. It's like right. So I basically it's just something to keep in mind that I'm not exactly having to create one for one what I'm doing. I can do kind of like an artful take on it as well. So it's kind of like instead of doing a realistic art style, you're doing a cartoony art style, but in explaining music instead. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like a part of me thinks that if I get a flow going, I could probably knock out all these in like a day or two. Depends on if I can find like the right sounds. And these as well, it can probably go pretty quickly as long as I have like the right stock sounds to pull from. How hard is it to like readjust a wave sound to make it kind of work for my game? Music will definitely be like probably a day or two or three per song, so this will take a long time. But I feel like sound should go pretty quick. One of the big thing though is just me learning all of this and getting comfortable with it and being able to find the things that I want, which is one of the good things about doing sound effects is I get to experiment with all these different sounds, and if I'm smart, I will write them down so that I have something to look at when I'm looking for sounds for music later. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of the idea of what I'm going to be doing for the next, like I said, it could be a week or two or three. I don't know how long it'll take me. I feel like I'm skipping over a lot of things, but I basically explained what I'm going to be doing, and I just don't want to stream all that because it's kind of like this stream. It's kind of weird to just stream a bunch of stuff when you don't have like a goal in mind. But I can always do it and then talk about it later and what my process was and what I ended up settling on, so you don't see all the crap. But trust me, I'm not going to succeed the first time. I'm going to fail and I'm going to do it wrong over and over and again until I find something that I like. And that's the goal. That's what I'm looking for. So the next couple days is just me fucking up over and over again until I find a pattern or I find a style that I want to use. And then once I find that, I should stream it, put it on YouTube, and we'll get this game released hopefully in the next. I've got a month and a half to go. Well, okay, so I never actually said it, but the release date that I put on Steam was February 28th or whatever, the last day of February. Though I gave myself an additional month by saying Q1 of 2023, which would have been January, February, March. So technically I got till March to reach that release date, but I'm still trying to get it done by February. We'll see if I can do that. I give this release date, but it might not happen, right? Every time I've said how long something's going to take, it's always been way longer. So I'm sick of saying what I think it's going to take, because it's never what I say. But my goal, right, is to get by like end of February, get all this stuff done. But then again, we're middle of January, and I'm just getting started on audio. I really thought I would be on audio. I mean, I thought I would be on audio months ago. I didn't realize that everything I did over the last few months would take as long as it did. Again, it's crazy. I can look at this and I can say, oh yeah, audio probably, it probably won't take long to do all this, but chances are it will take a lot longer than I give it credit for. And then also got to keep in mind, once I make all this stuff, I've still got to put it in the game, which, I mean, really, again, I look at that and I say, well, that shouldn't be too hard, right? I just find all the places where the music kit's on or all these sound effects are, and I put it in, and I put like a priority on it, and I put a volume attached to it, which I've already got the globals set up for. So I hope that shouldn't take long, but I'm so pessimistic about it now, just due to experience. It's hard to say that, it won't take forever. I'm really hoping I can get it out before then. I also would like to, at some point while I'm doing all this, to get a build put on Steam so that I can, one, learn how to do that, and two, learn how to update my Steam build when I add the music so that I know how to do updates later. So when I release the game, if I need to do an emergency update, I'm not like totally confused about that process, right? It's really important that I learn how to do updates to my game before I've actually released it, because I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm lost. Down here we just got like some stuff that I have to remove from the code testing stuff, and then I've got to figure out how to do Steam achievements. I still haven't figured that one out. I still don't know anything about like what I'm gonna do for language settings. At this point, I just don't have the money for it, especially when my truck got smashed. I just don't have the money to do different languages for launch. I wanted to code at least 2 languages so that I had like the framework to go forward, but that probably won't happen. We'll see. Right now, it's not a high priority. It's something that I might do, but honestly, I want to get the game released before worrying about this, so that'll be after release probably. I still have a couple like images and icons that I still have to draw. They're part of like Game Maker Studio. When you like install the program, the like little pictures that appear on the executable, or on the install page and stuff. So there's little things like that. But I've already got like some artwork that I've used for like the Steam library, so I can probably reuse some of that work. I've still got them all in their Clip Studio format as well, so should be able to just like, I doubt any of this will take any time at all, really. And then I got to get the game on Twitch and on YouTube, so I don't know how to do that. When you like, basically in Twitch, you turn the game into a category that people can stream under. That's important so that people can see there's a new game. Same thing with YouTube. If people are looking for more content on my game, it's really good if the game has its own category. So just some little things that I've been thinking of. And then I got the whole marketing thing where I've got to like, I don't know how to generate Steam keys. I'm hoping it's not that difficult to do, but I'm going to have to do that so that I can give the game out to certain streamers and YouTubers, which I've been making a list of. So that's something I'll have to do. That's more like something around release. I've got to make a trailer. I still haven't done that, and I haven't written that down either. But yeah, we've got to create a trailer around here somewhere. So we got to do that. But yeah, I'm not doing the trailer until I have music to go with the trailer, right? So that's why I've been putting that off. But man, we made some huge progress to get this far. Still going. This is not accurate at all anymore. This 898 hours. the last like month or two, I've been streaming like what, once a week maybe, or once every other week. So this whole like streaming or working like 3 times as much off stream as on stream, that's not even true anymore. More like off stream, I'm working 10 times what I do on stream, maybe more than that. So I don't even know how long I've worked on the game now. I don't know if there's a way to track it anymore. It's probably something upwards of 1,000 hours though, and that's probably what it'll be by the time I'm done. Okay, I yammered a lot. I'm gonna end here. I gotta say bye, and then I've got to wait like 15 seconds before I cut off the stream because I've been noticing that Twitch has been cutting off the end of my streams. And it's just randomly. Sometimes it'll do that and sometimes it won't. So I've got to awkwardly talk sometimes before cutting off my stream or I lose my exit. Bye-bye. Thanks for coming. I'm just yammering on. Later. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000.